Hi everyone. So I watched the Apple keynote event last night, which was where they released the details of the iPad Pro, and I instantly thought, I want one of those. Now, my second thought was, well, why do you need one? What's the point? Because I've been talking to everyone in our office and they've been like, oh, it's pointless. And for audio production, I think it will accelerate things tenfold for you, and here's why. Okay, so the iPad Pro is something I will definitely be getting, and I think it will help me when I'm not in the studio a lot more than when I am in the studio. Which everyone would think, well, if you spend all your time in the studio, then what do you need one for? But I don't spend a lot of my time in the studio as much as I would like to. I'm quite often filming, or I'm on a train, or I'm on a 5-hour journey to a film shoot somewhere, or I'm just away from my desk. And I like to record guitar parts and work with drum patterns and all sorts of stuff when I'm out in the field. This is my iPad at the moment. This is the iPad Air. And it's been fantastic, but there are things I would like to change about it. I don't know if you've ever seen my laptop, but it's about the size of a house. It's huge because I'm not bothered about size of equipment. As long as it does the job for me, then that's fine. I prefer screen space. If you look behind me, there's 2 screens here. And the reason there's 2 screens is not to show off, because I could probably, put all the money we have in the studio into just getting these big massive screens, or just one, but 2 screens means that I can have more than one thing, and without having to flick between and change programs, I can just see where I'm at with 2 different things, which in the case of audio production is usually seeing where the tracks are at and seeing the mixer window on a separate thing, and just being able to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 at that kind of speed. Which can increase my productivity massively. So with the iPad Pro, let's say I've got someone wants me to write some music for a film, and I feel inspired while I'm at home rather than in the studio, that I could have the split screen on the whole multi-screen thing so that I can have their notes of what happens in a particular part of this film and the time. And then on the other side I could have something like Cubasis or GarageBand or Aria, so I could lay down rough guides of tracks, because not necessarily will I need studio quality sound if I'm just writing, because things are subject to change. I'll tweak it and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. Once I'm happy with the part, I'll then come into the studio and lay down the final part, which is what a lot of guys at home would do. I mean, you'll write with a tape machine or whatever, and then when you're happy with the song, then you come into the studio. Unless you've got millions of pounds, you're not going to be writing in the studio because it's expensive. So dual screen is one of the biggest deals for me with the iPad Pro. I mean, also the fact that it's now finally the first iPad in stereo sound. They should have done that years ago. I mean, it's not that difficult. My Sony phone can do stereo. And just playing back a mix on something other than monitors or hi-fi speakers is good for reference, and if it's in stereo I can then hear right in front of me if there's going to be any problems with kind of loss of bass, where low end doesn't translate on small speakers. I can check that on the iPad. The fact that it's in stereo means that I can check for any kind of phase problems by just moving it around and seeing if anything bad happens. And that can be a bit of a lifesaver in terms of, instead of spending an hour in the studio just kind of checking, I can play something for 5 minutes on an iPad and just go, there's a problem here, and then fix it, and then I'm done. I don't have to do a remix and a recall, which can really drain my day. What else can the iPad Pro do? It's bigger, which means the screen space is bigger, which means that I could see, say if I was working on something like Cubase, I could see 10 tracks on the screen at the same time, and I could see the alignment between guitars, drums, bass. I can see when things are coming in, and not have to stop, go back, stop, go back, stop, go back. I can just hear it. And that will be absolutely life-saving for me. Another thing that I use my iPad for is I use it as a teleprompter quite often if I'm on a shoot, and if it's bigger that means that whoever I'm with, the client, can see it easier. and they're not doing this at the camera. I'm not using a teleprompter right now, but if I was, I'd need it to be pretty close for me not to be looking like I'm kind of reading and reading. So the iPad Pro, for me, not for everybody, but for me as a professional who does a lot of audio video work, will be absolutely priceless. Leave some comments in the section below about why you think the iPad Pro is useless or why you think you really must have one. I'll see if I can talk to you about it. Ask us anonymously on Ask FM, and just talk to us about it, and let's just see how much you really dislike what I've just had to say. I'm Adam Steele for the Hot Pole Studios. Thanks for watching.